was coming home on a country road over a abandoned farm area, and upon turning the corner, I noticed a craft in the sky, rectangular craft, multi-tiered.
If we are to ask if aliens are real, we must first ask how humans are real. We are all well aware of the extinction of dinosaurs from a massive meteor that struck our planet. As the Earth was blackened by ash, volcanic eruptions, and a fury of storms, a miracle struck its surface, a biogenesis that would create a mixture of methane, hydrogen, sulfur, nickel, and iron clashing together, forming chains of amino acids, and then human life. We slowly developed hunting and foraging skills. Creative from the start, we found a key to our future success: a flame. Flame for life continued to burn as we experienced new potential. As we became more intact with our planet, we migrated from Africa to explore more of what waited over the horizon. We sailed the seas and found new land. We built towns, took our first photographs, found life partners, came up with groundbreaking inventions. We built cities and made movies. But suddenly the sky became our next experiment, developing airplanes that would forever change the way we see our world. And just as evolution declared, our aspirations grew, and the stars were next.
10, 9, ignition sequence start. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. All engine running. We have a liftoff. Liftoff on Apollo 11.
After proving we could and conquering all of our greater questions, we still had one that we couldn't answer.
Are we alone in the universe? The question is back in the spotlight.
I have seen with my own eyes non-human craft and non-human beings.
The government is doing everything but looking out for us. The only thing they're looking out is for themselves.
An explosive documentary is setting out to prove aliens are real and the government is covering it up. The new film, The Age of Disclosure, claims to reveal an 80-year cover-up of the existence of non-human intelligent life and a secret war amongst major nations to reverse engineer technology of non-human origin.
UFOs are real, not something fictional or imaginary, and I think that's beyond dispute today. When I was a kid, they said, well, they're just hallucinations or some kind of mass psychosis, and of course, today, all you have to do is Google UFOs and look at the images, and you can't take a picture of an hallucination.
There is an extraterrestrial presence. That's an absolute fact. It's not a theory. It's not a speculation. It's an absolute fact. Just because the government says, no, it's not, well, that doesn't change that. And besides, anybody that believes the government these days is foolish. And the government has known about this ET presence. That's an absolute fact.
It appears after years of concealing information, government is finally opening up about their extraterrestrial knowledge.
Well, it might sound like science fiction, but a new UFO probe is being taken very seriously at the highest levels of the US government.
If you believe we have crashed craft, stated earlier, do we have the bodies of the pilots who piloted this craft?
Biologics came with some of these recoveries, yeah.
Were they, I guess, human or non-human biologics?
Non-human, and that was the assessment of people with direct knowledge on the program I talked to that are currently still on the program.
Mr. Gresh, finally, do you believe that our government is in possession of UAPs?
Absolutely, based on interviewing over 40 witnesses over 4 years.
I'm not going to name names, but there are certain individuals who didn't want this hearing to happen because they feared what might be disclosed.
It's pretty clear that some parties of the government are still concealing information. It's also very apparent that over the past 50 plus years, the government has been actively silencing members of the public.
I heard about real serious visitation of these so-called, men in dark suits. And then I'd heard about it like a number of other times. I heard about it with the McMinnville, Oregon case. She got a visit. Then I heard about it with Rex Heflin. He had a visit with these guys in suits. With the 1966 UFO landing at Westall Primary School. science teacher named Mr. Greenwood. And then we found out he had a visit from Men in Suits, a General Parviz Jafari. And he told me, he was like, yeah, the next morning, like the encounter happened in the middle of the night. The next morning, a couple of men from the United States government, I don't know what agency they're from, they were there. Oh my God, here they are again. I cover a case in Australia, Africa, South America, Chile, England, Russia, China, Canada, Alaska, across the United States. This is a global phenomenon.
Has there ever been a moment where it's just like slipped out of your hands?
The alien footage.
Of Virginia?
Yes.
You were that close?
We had a hard drive in our hands.
You had a hard drive in your
hands.
He said that the government had possession of an EBE on film.
There's going to be a video of an actual interview of an actual extraterrestrial being.
You know this?
Yes. You know, so I mean, I know that exists, and that's part of the crown jewels that they're not going to want to reveal.
But is that's on the table to come out?
Well, what I'm saying is that I talked to the person who was there, and that they've got this on film.
This isn't the first individual claiming that we have actual footage of extraterrestrials, and although we may never see proof of these EBEs on film, there's plenty of other film to study.
I can remember as far back as 6 years old, being in my room, just going to bed, and then aware that there were 6 light shafts coming down through the ceiling and would stand around my bed.
She had a tool in her hand and she was performing some mysterious procedure on me.
What did it involve?
I wasn't allowed to lift my head, so all I could see was what I could see looking down across my face. And I saw the tool. I don't even want to know what she was doing. It was horrible. It was frightening, and it lasted a long time.
What I remember is that through my wall came some beings around my bed, and I ran between them and ran out of the room into my mother's room to hide from them. And what happened is they followed me in there, and that's the last I remember of it.
These blue hazy lights was reflected from behind, so that's about the time I stood up and looked behind to see what it was, what really was back there. And it was 3 bulky-looking creatures.
There was 3 of these beings who physically were in the room, and there was one of them on my left ankle, one of them on my right wrist, and then the other on my left wrist. And then the next thing I remember, they were literally dragging me from my bed, carrying me out into the hallway.
After I'd worked with 40 or 50 of these individuals, I discovered to my amazement that there simply was no psychiatric explanation of this, that something real had happened to them.
The only part of the experience that I don't fully recall is how we got from the hallway up to their ship.
They saw me hanging outside my window in a beam of light.
There were 23 witnesses.
I thought it was a movie. Special effects.
I don't know why they're keeping it from the public, but we're not alone.
It would become the greatest abduction case ever seen.
The existence of an extraordinary phenomenon demands an extraordinary investigation.
Thanks to the investigators of the past, I think it's very safe to say that aliens are real. I don't even think that's the question. I think the question is, what do they want with us?
I had a sense that they were chipping me. I remember them putting me into my bed. I just go over to my ear, and there's just one drop of blood. So I don't really know specifically why they took me or what their intentions in particular were, but I do believe that it was a part of some sort of experiment.
Welcome to the new Short Doc series. If you enjoyed this edit, please like and subscribe because we got a lot more on the way.